At 9:30 a.m. on November 8, 2007, sewer and water department crews made a gruesome discovery at the end of a cul-de-sac in Northville, Michigan. Shortly after, homicide detectives arrived at the scene, where they were confronted with something they'd have never expected in the usually peaceful suburb. Wrapped inside a tarp was the badly burned and decapitated body of a man. He had suffered multiple stab wounds, and it appeared as though the body had been burning all night. The victim's head was not at the scene with the rest of the body. Detectives found tire treads belonging to a Chevy S10 series pickup truck, as well as a shoe print in the snow near the body. Due to the state of the body, investigators had assumed that the murder may have been a drug or gang-related killing. Forensic tests were conducted on the burned hands, and a single fingerprint was able to be lifted, identifying the victim as 26-year-old Daniel Sorensen. He had worked as a bouncer, but was struggling to find work at the time of his murder. By interviewing friends of Sorensen, detectives learnt the number of a phone he had been using in the days before his murder. Through this, they were able to obtain the phone's records and began calling all of Sorensen's recent contacts. This led them to J.P. Orlowitz, a 17-year-old senior at Canton High School. Detectives interviewed the teenager at his home in Plymouth, where he said that he knew Sorensen and that they were supposed to meet at J.P.'s grandfather's home, but Sorensen never showed up. Investigators decided to search the Orlowitz home, where in the garage was a Chevy S10 series pickup truck. It had been recently washed, and inside the truck were 4 bottles of Drano. Detectives compared the pattern of J.P.'s shoe with the print found where Daniel Sorensen was dumped. It was an exact match. J.P. Orlowitz was taken to the police station for further questioning, however he quickly asked for a lawyer. Another teenager arrived at the police station with information in the murder. He stated that on November 7, he received a phone call from J.P. Orlowitz. J.P. told the witness to come to his grandfather's home in Canton. This wasn't unusual, as the home was regularly used as a hangout spot for the group of friends. The witness arrived at the house and was led to the garage by J.P. Inside was another friend, Alex Letkerman, and the body of Daniel Sorensen wrapped in a blue tarp. J.P. told the witness to help lift the body into the truck, as well as lend J.P. his undershirt and jeans, as J.P.'s clothes were covered in blood. The witness did so, then returned home in shock, as Orlowitz and Letkerman went and dumped Sorensen's body. Detectives arrested Alex Letkerman, and he confessed to witnessing the murder and helping Orlowitz clean up and dispose of the body. He revealed a friend of the teens had recently come into a large inheritance, and Orlowitz had sought the help of the physically imposing Sorensen to help rob the friend. When Letkerman arrived at J.P.'s grandfather's garage, tarps were covering the windows and floor. Sorensen entered and was almost immediately attacked from behind by Orlowitz. The 17-year-old stabbed Sorensen 13 times. Once Sorensen was dead, Orlowitz picked up a hacksaw and decapitated his victim before using a blowtorch to burn his hands in an attempt to remove fingerprints. The pair then dumped the body in the cul-de-sac before covering it in gasoline and setting it alight. Then they got Sorensen's head, which was being stored in a plastic container filled with Drano, and tossed it in the Rogue River. It was recovered on the 10th. Letkerman stated that he helped J.P. dispose of the body to clear a $100 debt. On November 12, J.P. Orlowitz and Alex Letkerman were charged with first-degree premeditated murder, felony murder, and the mutilation of a corpse. The prosecutor would label the murder of Daniel Sorensen a thrill killing and said, "Anytime anyone kills just because they want to, and that's what the evidence seems to suggest here, is bone-chilling. Why would anyone want to do that, especially being 17 years old? It makes us think and ask a lot of questions about our society." Days before the trial was to begin, Alex Letkerman pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and was sentenced to 20 to 30 years in prison. He agreed to testify against J.P. Orlowitz, who was claiming he killed Daniel Sorensen in self-defense. There was not a murder, Orlowitz said. He testified that he was having second thoughts about the extortion plot, which made Sorensen furious. He said that Sorensen took out a gun and threatened to kill him. Orlowitz grabbed a knife from a tool bench and stabbed Sorensen from behind. I kept trying to stab him and get leverage in the fight. He said his actions after the death were all out of panic, and that he feared Sorensen had ties to the mafia and that his family would come after him. The prosecution had a number of witnesses debunking the self-defense claims. One teen stated that JP had spoken for weeks about wanting to kill Sorensen. He wanted to stab Dan, he wanted to bag him up in a tarp, hang him upside down from a tree, burning. He said he wanted to cut his head off. The witness also stated that he was supposed to be a lookout during the murder, and had helped Orlowitz set up the tarps in the garage on November 6, but the plan was postponed and the witness decided to not participate. 3 other witnesses said that just 4 days before the murder, Orlowitz said, "I wish I could kill someone," and when told that you can receive a life in prison for the crime, he replied, "I know, I just wish I could get away with it." After the murder, Alex Letkerman testified that JP used Sorensen's severed head like a puppet, something Orlowitz denied. In closing, the prosecutor would state, there was no plan to extort money, and that was the ruse to get the victim there. He told the jury that the only possible way for them to find Orlowitz not guilty was to believe his testimony rather than every single other person who took the stand.
I'm not doing 10 years. I'm not doing any years. I'm not doing it at any time at all. Know that. Either way, one way or the other, I'm not doing any time. So make sure Jim fucking knows that.
I think you have to really think about it, what you're saying.
Oh, what I'm saying? I've been saying this from the fucking get, and no one fucking listens. Nobody does. You don't, Mom doesn't, I don't even give a fuck. I'm sick of talking to you people. I just want to fire Jim, never talk to you fucking people again, and just fucking rot in my little cage until fucking the Reaper comes and takes my ass.
On April 16, 2008, JP Orlowitz was found guilty of all charges and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The judge called the now 18-year-old evil and commented, "I'm grateful you are going away for the rest of your life because, in my view, I believe you would have killed again."